Hello my friend, and welcome to my picnic table, which is my favorite place to be making YouTube videos. So here we are, and today's video is going to be sort of rehashing an old one. It's sort of just me remaking a same video because there are a lot of new people in the Fujifilm video space these days. Back in the spring of 2019, probably exactly 4 years ago today, I bought my first Fuji camera, which was the X-T3, and I fell in love immediately. I went to work testing every facet and component of the camera because there were not a lot of YouTube videos out there educating me about what to be using on the camera or anything really. It felt like the world of Fuji being used for video, but also just Fuji at large, was kind of an unpioneered space, and so I had to take a step out and try everything on this camera, and essentially I came up with the fact that I felt like the classic chrome, the film simulations in general, but I'm going to be talking about classic chrome today. The classic chrome on this camera was more than usable for capturing a video file that had plenty of room for color grading, but also came in with enough contrast, saturation, and adjustments to the HSL that it had a good style out of the camera without being overpowering. And that was something I had never experienced before, coming from both Canon and Sony and dabbling, trying out Panasonic. I had never experienced a camera that could produce a beautiful video file that was still friendly for color grading in a Rec. 709 format straight out of the camera. It was pretty much always taught that if you want to shoot video, you have to use log. And I still see that being preached quite a bit on YouTube today. And quite frankly, I don't know if it's a hot take or what the opinions of the public are right now, but I really don't think that it's necessary for everyone or for 90% of people to be using log to record videos. I still today use classic chrome about 75% of the time in comparison with F-Log2 on the new X-H2S camera. But for at least the first year, and if not the first couple of years, I rarely ever used log. There was a few scenarios where I tested it, tried it out, used it in different scenarios and settings, but in the end, I kept coming back to using classic chrome tweaked just a little bit for flexibility. We'll go ahead and dive into the menu here and skip straight over to image quality because that's where they keep these settings. So classic chrome has just ended up perfect for me because every time I get a new Fujifilm camera, I go through these, I record test footage, and I almost always just come out with the same solution, which is Eterna ends up being too flat for me without justifying the use of F-Log or F-Log2. And then some of the others end up with too much styling on them, and when they have too much styling, I don't feel the freedom to be color grading the footage. And classic chrome falls right there in the middle for me, where it adds a little bit of style so that I have a starting point for my color grade very quickly without adding too much, so I'm still flexible. But anyway, white balance is always on auto for me because if you've watched my videos, you'll know that the auto white balance lock is one of the most important features available on a Fujifilm camera, and I'm triggering that pressing this button here. Other cameras I've set up differently, but white balance, always on auto for me. Dynamic range, I have tested in a variety of different situations and settings, and I keep coming back to setting it to 100. 200 and 400 have not given me results that I'm looking for, but I achieve a similar result by going into my tone curve and adjusting it so that they are both providing the minimum amount. And I know that that sounds weird, but this is the amount is the way that you have to think about this. So you want the least amount of highlights to be recorded. So you're pressing down on your highlight curve here and then go over to your shadows, and you want less of the deep shadows. You don't want as deep of a shadow. So by reducing that to -2, you're actually lifting the shadows, which seems counterintuitive, but you can see the effect right there. The effect is very clear to me, and I want to have that shadow detail, and that's how I get around using the DR200 here. And I have tested and compared the DR200 versus using the tone curve, And I like the effect of the tone curve, particularly because it doesn't change anything else. I know exactly what it's doing. And then the next is the color. I leave at -2. And the reason I set it to -2 is because, again, it gives me the right amount of giving it style without doing too much. So -2. Sharpness, I have set to -4. One of the big critiques of Fujifilm that I see online is that it is over sharp, especially with the Sigma 18 to 35 glass. People say that it's over sharp. So I let that be -4. And then high ISO noise reduction I have on -4 because I have found through various tests that the 0 is okay and subtracting it a little bit is okay. But overall, I just don't want any noise reduction happening in camera. So -4 it is. If I need to add noise reduction later, then I will. But especially in classic chrome, I do not need high ISO noise reduction. So I leave that at -4. I do not use intra-frame noise reduction, and that's pretty much it. I am not claiming originality that I came up with this classic chrome recipe here, but this is my Fujifilm recipe for video that is not using log. And I think that a lot of people should be using something just like this instead of using log. And that's pretty much all I have for this video. So I think you should give it a try. Check out using the film simulations. I believe they are a lot more flexible than a lot of people might think that they are. I hope that this is helpful for you. Have a great day and be blessed, my friend.